Welcome to GarageHammerTactics, Sean speaking again. Today we're going to take a look at the 3rd Legion, Emperor's Children. Personally, Emperor's Children is a bit of a not favourite Legion of mine. It's just the arrogance that they come off in the Black Library books, but I suppose that's what they're all about. I have enjoyed reading the books, to be fair. I remember reading Fulgrim, and to start off with, I thought it was boring. I was like, there's not a lot going on. And then all of a sudden, everything started getting very interesting, but I won't put any spoilers out there. So let's have a start of their review. So looking at their Legion-specific rules, they have got 4. They got Legions Astartes, Exemplars of War, Flawless Execution, and Martial Pride. So Legion Astartes, we all know what that does. So Exemplars of War, Emperor's Children units with this special rule have the Crusader special rule, meaning they roll additional dice for making run moves and pick the highest, and add D3 to the total score when making sweeping advances, and that's for each combat. Characters with this rule gain +1 initiative when fighting in challenges. Note that's characters, not just independents, so that's like your sergeants as well. So that makes them quite quick for running and great for running down units if they win the combat. And +1 initiative in a challenge is very strong, especially when you combine it with a bit of their war gear we'll speak about a bit later. Flawless Execution. Models with the Emperor's Children rule gain +1 initiative on any turn they charge, unless they're making a disorder charge. This is a very, very strong rule, a bit like the Blood Angels Day of Revelation Riot War. And it combines with the +1 initiative in a challenge, so a sergeant on the charge in a challenge is going at initiative 6. It's pretty damn good. But obviously it is only on the charge, so this is where you got to make use of either having jump units and being more mobile than the enemy, or making good use of assault vehicles. And you got to work hard to get these charges off and take the advantage of this rule. And so it'll be all down to the movement phase. If you get these charges off, you're going to win combats because you'll hit first and there won't be as much left to hit you back. The final rule is Martial Pride. In combats where characters with special rule are involved, an Emperor's Children controller player must always issue and accept challenges. However, if they're defeated in combat and their challenger is slain, they suffer an additional -1 to leadership for morale checks. So, bit of a drawback there if you lose the challenge, but you're well equipped to win these challenges if you manage to get the charge off, especially because you're going to be a higher initiative, and you got the Phoenix Spear, which will help, or even a Paragon Blade will do the number, because the other 2 rules help with on the charge and in the challenge. Your Praetor is going to be going at initiative step 7, which against any other Praetor, they ain't going to be around to hit back most likely. So onto their specific war gear, they can get Sonic Shriekers. A model equipped with this imposes a -1 weapon skill on enemy models in base contact in assault. Enemies immune to fear are immune to that effect. And you can put any independent character for 5 points. So again, this will help in challenges of an equal weapon skill. You'll then be hitting them on freeze because they'll go down at weapon skill. So Praetor v Praetor, or a Consul v Consul type thing. You then, yet again, getting the edge in a challenge, which is fluffy. Emperor's Children are all about their martial prowess and being the best, basically. So they like to prove that point. So nice and fluffy. I like that the rules are pointing them towards winning challenges. Second bit of war gear is a Phoenix Power Spear. This is strength user AP3 melee 2-handed, so you don't get the bonuses for having 2 combat weapons or anything, but on the charge you get +1 strength and AP2. So that is very good on the charge. It's the same as the Dawnbreaker Spear, which I know from experience is very good from playing Blood Angels. The fact that you can take it on all characters with access to Power Fist is amazing. Means that your Tactical Sergeant can take one. So again, you'll be winning challenges, especially on the charge. Even if they got Artificer Armour, that AP2 will be cutting straight through them. So looking at that first little snippet at the Emperor's Children, it looks like the way to go is just kill all the enemy's characters and mop up the rest. Sounds simple enough, right? But we'll carry on and have a look at the downsides of the Legion. So having a look at their Rite of Wars, we've got 2. The first one is called Amaru Skara. No idea if I'm pronouncing that right. So the effects are the open blade. If chosen as an army's primary detachment, all the controlling players' units using this Rite of War deployed on the table at the start of the game may add 1 inch to their normal movement, run and charge distances in their first player turn. Maybe you'll get first turn charges if you go second and the enemy's not aware and they move their full distance towards you. So you're 24 inches apart, you're now 18. You'll be able to move 7 and then you're helped by the charge as well. So maybe, but it's likely that people have experience against this Rite of War and they'll know to hold back and not allow you to get those charges, because they'll know very well that they don't want you to get the charges because a lot of your buffs are coming from the charge. Second effect is the Hidden Blade. If chosen as the army's primary detachment, the controlling player must choose a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 3 units from its elite or fast attack. These, along with any attached independent characters, are held in reserves and treated entirely separately from any other reserve units in the game. Don't count towards drop pod assault, army maximum reserves, etc. etc. The controlling player must then, after deployment but before the game begins, secretly write down either turn 2, 3 or 4 on the turn they wish for their Hidden Blade units to arrive. So when that turn arrives, you reveal it so your opponent knows, and they arrive reserves as normal, and they also gain the outflank rule. That's not bad to get some actually reliable reserves, especially if you want something to come in on turn 2. And it's not just limited to Legion Astartes, so you could be guaranteeing that turn 2 you get your lightning on or something like that. But you could also use it if you're going first and you know the enemy's got a plane. Maybe you want your aircraft to come in on turn 3, so you'll get the advantage on the dogfight. So you'll be coming in shooting the first shots. So the limitations: they can't field units with the immobile, heavy or slow and purposeful units. So heavy, I'm guessing that means heavy tanks. It doesn't say super heavy, so I'm guessing you can still take a super heavy choice. Second limitation is you must take a Legion champion as your second compulsory HQ choice. Not a bad thing to have, especially since champions can now take Paragon Blades, and like I say, you'll be winning a lot of challenges, so a champion will help as they are the challenge masters. Third one, you can't take a fortification or an allied Space Marine Legion detachments. So it's only Space Marines. You could take Militia or Mechanicum as well. So not too bad of limitation. And you don't see a lot of allied detachments anyway. I tend to only use them when I'm starting a new army and I want to get them on the table soon without having to wait till I've got 2.5k, 3k painted. Last limitation: if the Slay the Wardlord's secondary objective is being used in the mission and the army using this Rite of War fails to slay the enemy warlord, then the opponent side gains the additional 1+ victory point. So make sure you kill their warlord. Overall, I think it's quite a poor Rite of War. and I think there's better ones just in the general selections. Emperor's Children second Rite of War is the third company elite. The effects are chosen off the Verishorn. Again, my pronunciations aren't the best. So Cacophony squads may be taken as troop choices in the detachment using this Rite of War, and all Cacophony squads in the army gain Relentless. So this is very good to get Cacophony squads in as troops and to get them Relentless as well. It means that they come in as scoring, and their weapon is actually a heavy 2 weapon. So the ability to actually move and shoot is brilliant. And you can even use rhinos and shoot out the top. And the fact that they can do this now at full ballistic skill is really good. The second effect is Sonic Assault. All infantry equipped with power armor or artificer armor may take Sonic Shriekers at 2 points per model. And you can't just take 1 or 2 members, the whole squad's got to be equipped with them. Sonic Shriekers are good, but 2 points a model, it starts racking up. It'd just be better if they got them for free. Limitations: this Rite of War may only be used by Emperor's Children belonging to a traitor faction. Can't take a Space Marine allied detachment, and any allies taken out of the army count as 1 level worse than normal on the allies matrix. So fellow warriors become distrusted allies, for example. Nothing really to worry about in those limitations, and overall this Rite of War, it's not really a game changer, but it's not too bad. The main point of it is getting those Cacophony squads in if you want to run those, lots of those, and have scoring units, as they will double up and do both. Now we're getting on to the cool stuff, looking at the Legion specific units. So first up we got the Phoenix Terminator squads, and they're basically normal Terminators but with weapon skill 5 on their stat lines. They come in Tartarus armor, so they can run people down, but then there's only that 5 up inval and there's not so much staying power. They got the Phoenix Power Spear. They got Implacable Advance, so they will be scoring. They're stubborn, so even if they lose combat, they're not likely to run. They've got Sudden Strike, which models with this special rule gain +1 initiative on any phase they charge. So yeah, it's good. Basically, there'll be initiative 6 on the charge because they're still Emperor's Children. They get that +1 and then +1 from Sudden Strike as well. And the Sergeant or Phoenix Champion will actually become initiative 7 in a challenge on the charge. So you really need to stick these in a Dreadclaw, a Land Raider, or big squads of 10 Spartan or Charybdis, because you really want to get this charge off of them. They've also got Living Icon, and all friendly units with at least 1 model within 6 inches are considered to be victorious in any assault, which they otherwise would have been a draw. Not a bad little rule if the combat is close and it becomes a draw, and then you nip the win, and then you got the chance of running them down because you're in that Tartarus armor. So the Phoenix Spear, the fact that if they get charged by another Terminator unit, they're going to do really badly because they're only got AP3 and they'll never get AP2. So you need a support character in there with a Paragon Blade or some always AP2. The points, they're 265 points for the 5 of them, and then 40 points each for additional. They've only got 1 wound. Like they are probably a little bit highly pointed, but some cases you'd get charged by these and they will just wipe a unit, and you might go, oh, they're a bit overpowered. But then if you charge them and they do nothing, you probably think they're quite expensive then. So they probably should be slightly cheaper when looking at other 2 wounded, other Legion Termies that are still 40 points each. They're also going to get stuck against Dreadnoughts because they can't take Power Fists or Chain Fists or anything. So again, that's where you'll need some character support or people around them. you'll need contemptors around them or stuff to support them if they're going to get stuck with another dreadnought. If you compare these to normal Terminators, would they kill another 5-man Terminator squad? Probably, but then if you chucked in a load more Terminators to bring them up to the 265 points, then yeah, they're probably not going to win. So it probably need to be a little bit cheaper, and I think they probably deserve an extra attack as well, rather than 2 attacks each, maybe 3 attacks each. This is just Emperor's Children, Book 1 Legion. They do need not a complete overhaul, just tweaking. I think a points tweak and a stat line here and there will bring them up to speed. And myself and Sam were talking about it. Even Legion specific Terminators for the Imperial Fists, you can get 5 of those with Storm Shields coming at about 230, so a little bit cheaper. But free up Envor against these guys with a 5 of Infill, I know who I'm backing to win that fight, and it will be the Imperial Fist. So yeah, they do need a little tweak. I think an extra attack would sort that out, and maybe slightly cheaper, maybe 35 points per additional Terminator. Next up, we're going to have a look at the Valentine Blades squads. I've got them written down in my notes as level 2 vets, basically, as they come with the weapon skill 5 as stock on their thing instead of weapon skill 4, but everyone tends to make their vets weapon skill 5 anyway. You also get Artificer armor on the Sergeant. You get charnable sabers all round, and they've got counterattack and chosen warriors, so they can act like a character to accept challenges. So on the playtest rules, they all can now take Artificer armor. First of all, I'm going to compare them to vets as stock. So 135 points for these 5-man Valentine Blades, or 100 points for 5 vets. But for the 35 points more, you get an Artificer armor on the Sergeants, and you get in charnable sabers, so you're going to be basically you're rending vets in combat. And the fact that they've got counterattack as well over the vets at 135 points, 35 points more, you get in Artificer armor, the rending, and the counterattack. It's not too bad looking at that point. So you'll always be getting 20 attacks charged or chargey. No complaints there really. Problem starts is when you start adding to them. It's 20 points for each additional guy. When you look at vets, it's 12 points. So 20, that's so much more difference. I don't know where they've plucked this number out. You can kit them out the same as Dawnbreakers as well. So they got the jump packs, Artificer armor all around, and the spears. And these guys come in at 460 points. Now, if you get, that's for 10 of them. And if you get 10 Dawnbreakers, they come in at 335. So it's a 125 points difference. And the only real difference is that Valentine Blades have got counterattack. Probably should be a little bit more than Dawnbreakers because they have got counterattack, but not 125 points more. That's 12 points more per model. That's ridiculous cost for them. So I'd say probably the difference somewhere in between that. So maybe they should be coming in maybe closer to 400 points rather than 460 for 10 of them. Overall, I think they're not too bad as stock, especially when you compare them to vets for their price. But when you start adding them on, they become way too costly. You're probably just worth getting that spear upgrade and sticking them in a Land Raider or Dreadclaw and make the most of them getting the charge off out of those vehicles, because they will do well then, but out in the open they'll probably get shot up by plasma, and it's so many points to just lose. So there's another unit that probably just needs a slight points adjustment, and I think it probably put them back in the ballpark of being on par with the more recent units that Forge World have put out recently, rules-wise. Again, pronunciation, Rylenore, the Unyielding, the Emperor's Children Loyalist Contemptor. He's got an extra weapon skill over a Contemptor. He's up to weapon skill 6, but he goes down to 2 attacks. I don't know. That's a bit of a poor trade-off. I think I'd rather just stick with weapon skill 5 and have the extra attack. But that's just me. Crusader, he comes with extra as well. That's not too bad. Maybe running him up the field if he's trying to get closer to things, he'd be a bit quicker. And if he does beat a unit, he's more likely to run him down. He's got the vulnerable dreadnought, or venerable even, sorry. This is a very good rule, and it can keep himself from exploding as you can make people re-roll the damage table. Of Glory is units with the Legion of Astartes, Emperor's Children Special Rule on the same side as him within 24 inches can re-roll failed morale checks and add 1 to their score when determining who has won the assault. Good, but he's likely, as a Contemptor, just to be shot by las cannons, and that's his rules. But he comes in at 255 points, and all he's got is a Kyr's assault cannon and a dreadnought close combat weapon. And I think if you get out a normal Contemptor, it's coming in about 200, I think maybe 205. An extra weapon skill but losing attack, that's probably balances itself out, so there's no bonus there for the extra 50 odd points. So you're paying 50 odd points for the Mantle of Glory for the morale checks. It could be quite useful if he stays alive long enough. The Venerable Dreadnought should help him stay alive longer, and Crusader, just a little nice rule just to get him there and hopefully run people down. So in my opinion, I'd just use a normal Contemptor over him. I think he's a bit too expensive. Again, another unit that probably needs slightly tweaking on the points, and maybe different rules. Maybe give him back his extra attack, so he's still got 3 attacks. But I just think his cost doesn't make him worth it. But obviously, if you're playing a fluffy game and you're trying to tell a story, of course, use him. Next up, we've got the Cacophony, normal Marines stat lines, and they've got the Cacophony weapon, which is range 36, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 2, gets hot. It's got pinning and bio-psychic shock. So ignore the gets hot. You know it's going to happen with a big squad of them. Pinning, I never really rely on pinning. It's not very reliable, but this bio-psychic shock is quite a good rule. So however many unsaved wounds you cause the enemy with this weapon, they have to take a leadership test at minus of how many wounds they have lost. And then if this test is failed, then they immediately suffer D6 wounds at AP2 with instant death with no cover save allowed. That is really, really good. So not only if you put a 10-man squad of these, you're pumping out 20 shots, especially if you tie up with the 3rd Company Elite Rite of War that we spoke about, so you are able to move and fire, you're going to cause a lot of damage with this, because not only there's a lot of shots at high strength, Marines are going to die, but then on top of it, to get these extra wounds at AP2 with instant death is brutal. It's that extra wounds isn't closest model. The player does get to choose which one, so obviously they're not going to pick their characters first. But again, still very good. You will start wiping squads with these boys, especially with the Rite of War for them. They also come with Sonic Shriekers, so I suppose that's fluffy because they are going to be doing some shrieking. But I wouldn't get these boys in combat, just keep them out of the way, zipping about in rhinos and disembark into unleash fury when you've got that perfect shot off. So yeah, I'd run these definitely in large numbers to cause as many casualties as possible to make best of that bio-psychic shot rule. I've been on the receiving end and it is absolutely brutal. So overall, they ain't bad unit, and they are a lot better when you use that right war with them. And they're probably one of the ones that probably are pointed-ish correctly. They're not too atrocious. I think they're coming in at 145 for 5 of them, and then 20 points each for each extra bloke. So if you get an extra 5 to go to the full 10 man, you're only paying 245. So that's not too bad, and you will start deleting units if you manage to get that whole unit off shooting vets, or even stuff in 2-up armor saves. The amount of shots, people are going to start rolling ones. Now moving on to the Legion specific characters. Quick glance, we've got Lord Commander Idlen, Captain Soul Tarvet and Fulgrim. 2 traitor ones, ain't too bad. Soul Tarvets, not too bad considering the points, but we'll get onto them individually anyway. Starting off with Idlen. At the beginning I spoke about Emperor's Children and my distaste for their arrogance. It's probably mainly because of this bloke. I hated him in the books, but I suppose it shows good writing from Black Library, and that's why we love to read the novels, and probably why some of you are into the heresy scene anyway, to retell the stories that are written down. For 185 points, he's not too shabby. He's got weapon skill 6, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, 4 attacks, leadership 10 with a 2-up save. So his war gear, he's got that Artificer armor to give him that 2-up save, mastercrafted Thunderhammer, Archaea Tech pistol, frag and crack grenades, a sonic shrieker, so that's going to be good for any challenges that he wants, and an iron halo to give him that sweet 4-up invulnerable save. He comes with Master of Legion, so you can engage for a right of war. Thunderous Charge really makes him as a really decent character, if you ask me. It says that Idlen is arrogantly aggressive combatant, skilled in striking down his enemies with a single contemptuous blow, like a thunderbolt from the heavens. On any turn which he charges into assault, he may ignore the effect of unworldly rule with his Thunderhammer. So on the charge, you hit in with a Thunderhammer at initiative. Consider he's initiative 5 anyway, and he is Emperor's Children, so on the charge he's initiative 6. And get him into a challenge, he goes up to initiative 7. Yeah, really good rule to combine with that Thunderhammer. Again, another unit that really excels on the charge. It's quite a theme for the Emperor's Children, so to get these charges off, you will have to make sure you are either taking jump packs, which Idlen can take a jump pack for 20 points, because using jump packs allows you to outmaneuver and rule that movement phase to engineer when you want to charge, unless obviously they've got jump packs as well, and then it's whoever throws the towel in first, really. Or you can use transports, but you need to use assault vehicles, and obviously they are pricey when you're looking at Land Raiders and the Dreadclaws and Charybdis Spartans and Storm Eagles, stuff like that. They do start rocking up, but I suppose some of those vehicles are a bit of a gunboat themselves with las cannons all over the place, so I suppose they do pay for their points worth. He's also got Death Scream, which is a template strength 2 AP dash assault 1 rending pinning. This rule, I mean, it's a bit meh, but it is fluffy. He's in the books described of using it, so it's good that they've added that in there. He's also got Warlord's Pride. He's always got to be the Warlord, unless obviously Fulgrim's on the table, and it doesn't roll for the Warlord traits table, but he uses his own unique trait, which is Coordinated Assault, and all friendly units within 12 inches add 1 to the results when rolling for their charge. So it's not a bad Warlord trait to have. It will help himself and others get the charge off, which we've just spoken about you really want to get as an Emperor's Children player. So not too shabby. He's also got Precision Strike, so if people are denying challenges against him, which you probably will because you'd be stupid to accept challenges against a Initiative 7 Thunderhammer. This is insane. At 185 points, I think he's a really good character, even if he is an arrogant prick. Next up, Soul Tarvets. Much prefer this character, just in the books that is. He's finally gotten a model. Not long, Christmas Day, went up for pre-order. I didn't manage to get one. I want to do a little Captain Soul Tarvets Zone Mortalis force. I think it'd be quite cool to reenact this fan with the guys, but I have to wait for them to make some more. He comes in at weapon skill 6 as well, and then he's ballistic skill, strength, toughness 4, 3 wounds, initiative 5, and 3 attacks. Yeah, leadership 10, and artificer armor for that 2-up save again. He comes with a sniper rifle. It's not too bad, but you're not really going to make much use of it. But characters never normally are known for their shooting, then they're more known for their combat prowess. He's got a bolt pistol and a charnable broadsword, and this is a +1 strength, AP5, melee rending, two-handed, so you're not going to get that extra attack from having that bolt pistol, but it does have duelist edge, so in the challenges it's going to put him up quite a bit actually, because on the charge be initiative 6, so in the challenge with an independent character take him up to initiative 7, and then duelist edge will actually put him up to initiative 8. So that's an insane initiative for just a box standard captain. The only thing that's letting him down is the AP of his weapon is only 5, so you are relying on those rendings, and it all depends how lucky you're feeling, I suppose. He gets Master of the Legion and Preferred Enemy, Emperor's Children, so yeah, that's nice and fluffy for Isfan again. Master of the Legion is not bad actually, considering he's 135 points, so he's getting all those things. He's got Refractor Field as well, so he's got 5-up invul, so all that for 135 points. It's not too bad, and he's got his own Warlord trait, which is Master of Defense, so himself and any unit he joins has counter-attack special rule when they're in their own deployment zone. So again, he's very fluffily written for Isfan, I think. So he's not bad considering that he's 145 points. And if you wanted to run a cheat character with Master Legion, not a bad choice to go for, I don't think. And yeah, his sword is only rending, but if as long as you're not going up against Praetors and stuff, anything lower, you should do alright, especially because you're going to be going first in those challenges on the charge at initiative 8, which I still think's insane. But yeah, rules are very fluffy, which I suppose is what the Heresy is all about. And I really like the model, and I especially like the helmeted version. So last up, we've got Fulgrim, coming at 380 points. Quite a cheap Primock. He's got weapon skill 8, ballistic skill 6, strength 6, toughness 6, 6 wounds, initiative 8, and 5 attacks. Leadership 10, 2-up save. His special rules, he's got everything a Primock normally would. He's bulky, not normally Primocks are, and he's got Sire of the Emperor's Children. He has the Crusader special rule and must always accept and issue challenges in combat, so as long as a potential opponent challenge has a weapon skill of 5 or higher. So I suppose that's the level that's worth his while. And in addition, while Fulgrim is present, all units with the Legion Astartes Emperor's Children special rule, as well as Fulgrim himself, gain +2 to to their combat resolution results, and reserve rolls for the units with Legion Astartes Emperor's Children rule may be re-rolled if you wish, whether it's successful or not. So you could wish to chance to try and keep them in for another turn or not. Quite a really good rule, especially for winning combats, because that +2 is worth killing 2 Marines just straight away, isn't it? So you're always likely to be going to be winning combats, and it's going to give you a chance to run people down. And then he's got Sublime Swordsman. So this gives him an increase to a 3-up invul in combat, where normally he just has a 5-up if he's being shot at. And he also gains a number of additional attacks equal to the amount of which his initiative value is greater than that of the opponent. So if he's fighting someone who's initiative 5 and he himself is initiative 8, those 5 attacks are going up by 3, so he's then got 8 attacks. I really like this rule. Not only does the 3+ push him towards top tier, because all the Primarchs with 3+ invuls always do well against other Primarchs, just because they're like a bit more durable. Because of his high initiative, he's more likely to get a few more attacks as well. He's also got strategic planning. Fulgrim's art of war focused around the perfect execution of pre-planned strategies and tactics, enabling him to adapt to the battlefield and foe he and his legion must encounter. At the beginning of the game, a single warlord trait from the strategy traits charts in the Warhammer 40k rulebook, which will obviously be the new rulebook for Horus Heresy, may be chosen for Fulgrim. So it's quite good that a Primock actually gets to have a warlord trait. Normally it's their rules are considered to be their warlord traits anyway. So and the fact that you can choose is that you could look at what you're facing and or what your army's lacking, and choose a trait that will help you and meet your needs. So his war gear is the Gilded Penelope, which is his armour, which we've spoken about as a 2-up and a 5-up invulnerable save, although we've just spoken that his Sublime Swordsman takes up to a 3-up invul in combat. In addition, any invulnerable saves in an assault save on a 6, whoever inflicted that wound must pass an initiative test or suffer the effects of blind special rule. So 5+ ain't great, so you need to make sure he's got a bodyguard so he's not going to get shot off the table. 3++ is amazing. I've already said I feel that pushes any Primarch into the top tier. And 6 is blind test. Can come in very useful if it comes off, but it is unlikely to come off because obviously you got to roll that 6 and then they need to fail the initiative test anyway. And then he's got the Blade of Leia. Again, sorry if my pronunciations are poor. It's a strength user, AP2, melee, rending, specialist weapon, but it's 2-handed. Or he can take a mastercrafted Paragon Blade, which inflicts Murderous Strike on a 5-up instead. Out of those two, I think you're probably better taking the souped up Paragon Blade, in my opinion. But either way, he should murder whoever he hits. His last rule is Firebrand, one of the number of arms Fulgrim carried as his mood took him. Firebrand is a mastercrafted Volkite Charger, which also has a Shred special rule. So, bit meh, Volkite Charger, but you just get him into combat and he won't let you down. Overall, looking at that, for 380 points as well, he's quite a cheap Primarch. He's very good. He offers good buffs to the Legion, and he is a combat monster. Thing that lets him down, the same as Phoenix Spears, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but without suitable backup, you got to watch out for Dreadnoughts, because Dreadnought will go in, he's only strength 6. Yes, he's got rending if you take the Blade of Lear, but then you're relying on some 6s just to try and get through a Contemptor's armour. Otherwise, he's just going to get stuck. Overall, for Emperor's Children, I think there's a little bit of salt in there for a couple of the units. Some slight changes and points adjustment wouldn't go amiss. Bring them into line to some other units that are pointed a bit lower but do the sort of similar thing. Overall, you really need to get these boys on the charge. If you're getting your charges off and you're owning that movement phase, you should be doing well in a game. So get nice and close to them, get those charges off with assault vehicles. You shouldn't do too bad. Again, thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe and share the content. We actually agreed to go through all 18 legions and even Militia, Mechanicum and Custodes. And I know Sam's done one of the demon ones. But yeah, we're going to work through them all and give our opinions on them. Thanks for listening. Sean at GarageHammerTactics. Catch you in the next one.